Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. So over the long holiday weekend, Bitcoin bulls failed to confirm the daily trend change. That's keeping the bears in the driver's seat of the daily downtrend. And we now open the stock market to start this week with a ton of weakness. Does that mean we're about to flush our lows? Let's look at a key support level on a number of things. So starting off with Bitcoin, the daily time frame, we bounced from oversold conditions. We hit a top of that bounce at 44.5 thousand. We then set a higher low, and this is where the bulls needed to confirm the trend change over the long holiday weekend. We can see they failed to do so. They set a lower high, and they have now broken support. Lower high, lower low, and rejecting from daily EMA 12 resistance consistently for the last 2 weeks. So I was in a couple of swing trades. I'll go over those, and I have stopped out, I believe, all of my positions. I might have one small one left in mana, but stopped out because the thesis for my trade was the higher low and higher high. So the entries that I made into the positions were on their consolidation on the 12-hour or on the daily time frame, and then the trade would have been successful, or the trades would have been successful had that bull move taken place, but it didn't. So my thesis was wrong. So I stop out with an acceptable loss, a size of which I'll look to make back the next trade that I take. Gave back partial profit from the last swing trade that I was in, and that was in Luna and AVAX. So we'll go over the trades that I was in as we come across the coins that they were. But for now, the only hope that the bulls have in the short term is the 2-day time frame for Bitcoin holding the low of 39.6 and breaking the high of 44.5. A very simple statement. If 44.5 thousand is resistance, the bears have absolute control of the daily trend. The dollar has been bouncing significantly the last few days. Bulls have to be cautious of a monthly bull flag in the dollar. That's a possibility with the size of the consolidation and the lack of bear follow through at this point. Dollar bulls still have to confirm the daily trend change in their favor, but they've got a lot of space to work with now for a daily higher low to try and form. Today, SPY lost daily support. Granted, we're not seeing a lot of follow through. Why are we not seeing follow through? Because QQQ has not broken support yet. So that is key for me for the rest of this week. QQQ heading down towards our low, and we're looking at 369.31. If that level breaks, where's the next support level? There's not a ton nearby as far as clear price levels for our guides. If QQQ bulls can pull off a miracle, and I say a miracle just because they pretty much need to completely 180 turnaround momentum right now, which they're trying to do, 15-minute bounce here. So if the bulls can pull that off, it'll be a daily higher low and a tightening range. But again, a lot of proving to do. And we're watching that very closely because if that support level breaks, further pullback in QQQ after the first confirmed weekly downtrend since the COVID lows. So pretty key support level on QQQ. And again, SPY has already broken it, but we have to see QQQ break it as well if we're going to see any kind of bear follow through on SPY. So that's something we're watching on Bitcoin as well, or for the entire crypto space, essentially. And another one is IWM. I refer to IWM as the higher risk, higher reward sector in stocks. Look at this base of support that we have here. Again, another key level to be keeping an eye on. Between 205s and 207s, we've got 1, 2, 3, or 205s to 209s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the moment, major holds. If those levels break, we are then at the lowest levels, 52-week lows essentially. Where's your support under that baseline? There's not a ton of levels. There's a couple, but there's a lot of space down there. And the last thing the bulls want to see is falling through 205 on IWM into an area with a lack of support. So again, these are things we need to be watching to gauge broader market sentiment. Is there fear in the broader market? If the answer is yes, it's very likely going to mean fear in the cryptocurrency space as well. So it's all about the recent low. Bulls can still save things, but the bears are comfortable. There's no pressure on bears unless you start taking out daily lower high resistances and forcing some bears to cover. Dominance chart, still battling and holding this 39 level. I'm watching 41 here as a resistance, the high of the last bounce. And again, it's the consistent pattern where these bounces in general are on crypto weakness with altcoins dropping harder. Then you see the crypto space bouncing as Bitcoin tries to bounce. And then you see weakness again and alts leading the way down. So pretty much alts are leading the way up and they're leading the way down as far as just seeing more significant moves. And we're continuing to watch this very clear base of support on the dominance chart in the 39% range. Sweetie Pants is snoring next to the computer if you hear any background noise. So key base of support. But again, just watching individual coins because we have some names that are extremely strong and we have some names that are extremely weak. And we know we don't want to lump everything together. We want to look at everybody individually. So Ethereum, daily higher low set, failed to break resistance by $25 and then a drop down to a lower low. So I made an entry at 32.24 for a 12-hour higher low on Ethereum. Great entry. Green very quickly. Failed trade. Stop out. So small loss. Gave some back. This is the kind of trade where I do not regret taking profit at all. The reason is the thesis for the trade is a weekly bounce, potentially monthly higher lows on Ethereum and Bitcoin. That's what I'm looking for over the next couple of months. But ideally, the daily trend change is what I needed to see to say, okay, this is a successful trade, which it did not do. So my position sizing is swing trade position size, which means smaller because the levels are based off of there's more risk involved, more risk and more reward because the percentage moves between levels are more significant than if I'm day trading on an hourly or 5-minute time frame. So that means my position sizing is smaller. The last thing I want to do is risk a day trade position size where I'm used to risking 1% and I'm risking now 5% on a daily chart with that same position size. That would be way too much risk. So if I had larger positions, I would have sold some into profit and had a break-even stop. But the position sizes were not large enough to dictate that. So I'll do that sometimes, other times I won't. And in this instance, I did not do it. The last time that I did it was the monthly higher lows on Bitcoin and Ethereum, where I played this oversold bounce and this drop down, it's back here, played this oversold drop down, sold some into the bounce because my position size was big enough. Why did I use bigger position sizes then? Because we had conditions that were aligning with a lot of oversold timeframes in the short term. So as I was entering that trade, I was confident in at least a short-term bounce, at least an hourly oversold bounce, so I can sell partial and have a comfortable break even. With the most recent trade, that was not the case. I was not as confident in a 12-hour higher low forming. You know, what if I try for the 12-hour higher low and then we just keep dropping all the way back down to the low? Then I need to exit and stop out. So it was just a different shorter term setup as opposed to everything in free fall and expecting a short-term oversold bounce to allow myself that maneuverability. This one was not that same setup. So there's two different trade styles for me. One is swing size position from the get-go, and the other is day trade size positions, which are larger, and then I sell partial to knock them down to swing size positions with a more favorable cost basis. And it's all based on confidence in the short-term setups. And again, I was not as confident that the 12-hour higher lows would form here. It was nice when they did, but wasn't confident enough to use size. So same thing on ETH/USD. The only thing the bulls can hope for here is a 2-day higher low holding 29.28 and a bull break of 34.20. It's the only way the bulls can save the short term. Otherwise, we're going to look for a break of daily support. If we just keep setting lower highs on these bounces, we're going to look for a break of daily support. And at that point, we'll be keeping an eye out for potential weekly oversold conditions, although they will still be a bit of a ways away on Ethereum and on Bitcoin as well. That's not going to happen unless we saw a big time flush, which could happen. You know, 39.6 is a double bottom here on Bitcoin. 39.6 does break. We could trigger some stops to flush it down to the mid 30,000s. But even then, that weekly RSI is a ways away. I'd be back to watching for a daily oversold bounce if that happens. And again, I go aggressive looking for bounces when more time frames are oversold. Give me daily, 12-hour, 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute, 5-minute. Give me all of those oversold. And that's when I go with a little bit more size to be looking for those short-term bounces. ETH/BTC, watching the daily trend here. Significant move up, but no trend change. And now we're pulling back, scouting a daily higher low. The bulls have to hold 729 and bull break 78 to confirm the trend change. But for now, no daily trend change, keeping ETH/BTC in a downtrend, in a daily downtrend. We're scouting a monthly higher low, but changing the daily trend back to the bulls is baby step number 1 for the monthly higher low to try and form. LTC definitely getting our attention as a lead bull. So our weaker names had bigger bounces over the last week. And I'm referring to ADA, to Litecoin, to OMG. There were a handful of names. Why is that happening? Is that a dash to trash? Everybody's now so concerned. A number of things. Number one, everybody's now so concerned if Litecoin's going up, the crypto space is going to dump. That's not the relationship. A dash to trash means in a bull market, in a bull move, everybody's saying, everybody again is just throwing money around. Okay, we're going to get profit in this name. Now we're taking it over here. And you reach a point where, okay, everybody's run. Let's go to the weakest names that have not run yet. Dash to trash. Okay, let's get that bull move up. And then once you do that, every name's run and you've exhausted the upside potential, and then the entire sector pulls back. So you don't look for that in oversold bounces. You look for that at the top of bull moves as far as the dash to trash narrative. Another factor, the more it happens, the more people are aware of it. Now you've got everybody saying, well, if Litecoin's going up, it's bearish the crypto space. Once everybody is aware of a pattern, it stops working. So that is now less of a factor for me. It's still something I'll be keeping an eye on, but again, now anytime I say anything bullish about Litecoin, I have 15 people messaging and saying, doesn't that mean the crypto space is about to dump? And it's saturated. It's a saturated pattern at this point. But bigger picture, Litecoin has not changed the daily trend bull as far as I'm concerned. So we have to hold 120.78 and break 153.91. But where I am interested in Litecoin is not in the short term. I am interested in this LTC, BTC, big picture trend, not trend, big picture chart, big picture pattern, falling wedge. If you've been watching the cryptocurrency space at all in the last year and a half, you know that coins BTC pairings entering falling wedges on daily and weekly timeframes has been the time to be scouting for a shift in momentum and for that coin to take the lead bull role for a certain period of time. This is the most drawn out, bigger picture pattern that I am watching in the cryptocurrency space. And it's because of the potential that when it breaks, it will be extremely fast and hard, and there will be extreme potential for gains. So I don't care about Litecoin. I don't care if it's dead technology. I don't care if it's the best coin in the world. All I care about is this pattern, which is currently a weekly equilibrium. I care more about the price levels than I care about the downtrend resistance. This is just my visual guide. Anything under 4489 is just a weekly lower high. The way I'm viewing this is our low, high, higher low, nice base of support established. Anything under 4489 is just a lower high. Is that our lower high already being set? Maybe. I'm not acting on this pattern anytime soon. I'm observing it and patiently waiting. I want another weekly lower high to form. I want it to get as tight as possible so I can act on the break. If it breaks bull, I will buy Litecoin regardless of what the US dollar pairing looks like. And at this point, I'm still patiently watching. But again, this is for 2022, the first half of 2022, this is the most important pattern for me. I've made a lot of money on Litecoin over the last 4 years, having zero interest in the fundamentals of it. Shake those fundamentals if you are a trader, because it does not matter when the setup is there. Mana. So Mana gave us a nice bull break, 10% follow through. But again, it's another example where I left money on the table, which I am A-okay with because it was a smaller position size and I was looking for a bigger picture move. So I don't believe I've stopped out at this point. I'm pretty close to doing so. My average is 289, and with its position size, it's insignificant with where we stand right now. The bull move up was decent. You know, at that point in time, I was up at the high of this move, 320. I was up a day and a half maker. But again, I'm going for week makers if I'm looking for swing positions. So I was looking for a monthly higher low on Mana. I wanted that monthly higher low to be set. I wanted the cryptocurrency space to see a significant shift with daily trend changes, and it just didn't happen. So we got the bull break. I made that entry on the 12-hour higher low here. My average was about 289. Nice bull move. And actually, I would have drawn this resistance line differently. It was down here. So we had the 12-hour equilibrium bull break, and then just no follow through. Had Bitcoin confirmed the daily trend change, this move would have seen nice follow through, but it didn't. So again, the premise for my trade was invalidated. So I will stop out because I was wrong. We did not change the daily trend on Bitcoin. So insignificant trade on Mana, did get nice follow through, again, 10% above my entry, but position size small enough that I was looking for a move 350 and beyond if I was then going to start considering taking some profit. Bigger picture, setup's not dead, but definitely, again, red flags. Taking out little daily support level, 263, the only short-term support. We essentially need to hold 263 and break 320 if this move is going to have any follow-through for the bulls. Mana BTC, just sideways, chopping around. Not really much info there. Still watching the support level, and I will say that I'm still very interested in Mana as a bull as long as this base of support holds. If that base of support breaks, I'm a lot less interested in Mana USD. Luna. So Luna's got a nice little bounce going. Weekly perspective, very healthy. Trying to set a weekly high or low, EMA 12 support. We got an inside bar last week. We've got a second inside bar this week with a lot of days to go. 2-day perspective. Because again, you look at this and say, well, are we in an uptrend? There's these little wicks here. Is that a trend change? Zoom out when you have any doubts of clarity. And I'm just looking at higher low, lower high, lower low, lower high, trying for the higher low for the trend change. It's essentially an inverse head and shoulders attempt, but the bulls must hold 62.46 and break 87.90 to confirm this trend change on the 2-day time frame to set the weekly higher low. Hourly, we got a nice bounce going. We're bouncing way more significantly than Bitcoin is right now. Bitcoin's tightening up on the hourly. So it's trying to get a 4-hour oversold bounce going. A lot of space for a 4-hour lower high, but Luna BTC is bouncing significantly here without even looking. I know that just because I know what Bitcoin is doing. So significant bounce there. Weekly perspective, double top at the highs, but stronger than the US dollar pairing. Daily trying to set a higher low. We didn't change the daily trend from the bottom. This is still a healthy chart. The psychology is there for a cup and handle. If this bull flags, again, it's not picture perfect. I would not put this in a textbook, but what I care about for the psychology of a cup and handle is resistance, consolidation, failure to break resistance, and bull flag. So a simple statement is if 18.9 is our low, it's a bull flag. If that level breaks, pattern invalidated for me. If that level holds, then we're looking for the potential of a bull break to all-time highs on the BTC pairing to help with the 2-day trend change on Luna USD. So it's definitely stronger than Bitcoin. But again, this relies on, in my opinion, we need QQQ to hold daily support or at least see no bear follow through on a break. We need Bitcoin to set a 2-day higher low. Those are two things that need to happen, in my opinion, if we're going to see Luna confirm this 2-day trend change to try and be looking back up towards that all-time high. ADA USD, so again, another lead bear into a lead bull on this bounce. That's a 50% bounce. Weekly perspective, we broke resistance, but we don't have trend changes. We don't have a clear daily trend change for me. So keeping in mind that that has to happen, 2-day perspective, big upper wicks. So 4-hour, lost the uptrend here. I was going to be watching for a potential 4-hour head and shoulders, but the size of this 4-hour pullback, there's a lot of space for a 4-hour lower high to be the result of the next bounce. There's going to be bears waiting to look for an entry on a 4-hour lower high. And the BTC pairing is doing the same thing. So we'll be looking for a 4-hour lower high on the US dollar pairing and the BTC pairing, and we will have to confirm a 4-hour downtrend on both if we're going to see significant daily consolidation from there. We would then zoom out and scout a daily high or low, but that's the next bear trade that bears are watching for with the current setup on the 4-hour time frame. Atom USD has been a lead bull. Look at that wall of resistance. Bears are getting comfortable top fishing that resistance. 44.80, 44.50, 80, 80, 80. We just keep topping out. And it was a hard rejection this time around. Let's go 2-day perspective. So 2-day, it's not game over because anything above 32.88 is a higher low. But we're at a point now where it's a big enough pullback that bears are going to try and top fish again. Next time we bounce, scouting a daily lower high. It's going to get interesting on Atom. We know volatility is coming when this 2-day range breaks. Are there any clues that we can have on the BTC pairing? 2-day perspective looks the exact same. We did get a resistance break back here, but as far as the recent action, 2-day equilibrium for both. So we're scouting a 2-day higher low compared to 32.88, and then we're anticipating that we're going to tighten up for the rest of the week if we can set that 2-day higher low. And then again, volatility will be incoming into Atom. It's going to be one of two things. It's going to be a very clear double top failure at all-time highs into weekly consolidation, or it's going to be a new all-time high. And again, it depends a lot on Bitcoin. Can Bitcoin confirm a 2-day trend change? Probabilities don't favor it right now, but it's a possibility. If that were to happen, 2-day higher low on Atom would likely be set, and we'd be heading back up towards that recent high. So keep an eye on Atom for that impending volatility with the 2-day tightening range. There's a whole handful of names to be looking at, obviously. There's a bunch. I'm still interested in the Sol monthly higher low. You can see Luna standing out. Still interested in the Sol higher low. I'm still interested in the AVAX weekly equilibrium. Trying to set a weekly higher low, failing to do so. Inside bar on the weekly, we got to hold this 79.18 support. Need the 2-day trend change for the weekly higher low to be established. So bulls' backs are against the wall on a lot of names trying to set a 2-day higher low, and they need to show up right now. Looks like while I've been talking, QQQ bulls are following through with some more bounce. So tomorrow's going to be key. Can QQQ follow through significantly enough on this bounce to set the daily higher low and remain in a tightening range? Feel free to ask any questions. Don't forget to do good things. Appreciate you watching, and we will see you soon. Adventure time. So this is in Vegas, and we are hitting the road. My buddy and I both going back to the East Coast. I was going to Florida. He was going to North Carolina. So we went probably half the way together and then went our separate ways, and we certainly loaded up on the good stuff. I was beer deficient on my road trip, and my previous road trip where I went with my buddies spoiled me because I was drinking the crap water beer, high school, college, and then out of college, he introduced me to good beer. And once you go good beer and you enjoy it, you cannot go back. So we loaded up some nice hemp ale. If you try the Hemperor by New Belgium Brewing, they make that here in town. That's the best hemp beer I've ever had. And if you like the taste of ganja, you're going to like that beer. Old Rasputin is also a favorite of mine. So we adventured on through Zion, and this was my second. I think I've been to Zion 3 times now, but my buddy grew up as a hunter, and he was blown away by how close the deer get because they're just used to being around people and they are protected. So it was freezing, but it was beautiful as always. I had never been to Zion in the winter, so a little bit of a different landscape, but certainly still epic as always. And we ended up camping overnight, and the lows were 12 degrees. And in Celsius, that is, I think, a -11. I've never camped that cold before. It was a very interesting experience. You can see the running water is freezing here, but it was wild. I don't think I'll ever do that again. But, you know, wearing 8 different clothes and having 4 layers of sleeping bags and blankets, and we made it. Nice big old rocks. We went with the little dog, Nico. And we originally got him when I was in college with my buddy and found him on the side of the road. But got him mid-shake there. Interesting face. But he was fun to come and play with and have on the adventure in the national park. So we drove from Zion across through Texas. It actually snowed in Texas as well, which was certainly not expected. And got some Texas state parks coming up, and then heading back to Florida before going to Costa Rica after that. So I guess we'll go through Costa Rica. I've certainly done that before, but we'll go through again and finish up as we head into the current 2019 spring. So again, this road trip was 6 years ago. Every video I get messages from people saying, wow, how are you getting internet while you're streaming? And, oh, you should come say hello in South Utah. I'm over in blah, blah, blah. This is all a long time ago, but we'll do some more current stuff when the gardens get going. I'll do some garden progress, and I think I'm going to buy a house that'll turn into a little farm soon. Been scouting for a long time, just found a potential prospect. So we'll see. Do good things again. See you soon.